back in session. I have two motions. One motion to move to authorize modifications to the Thrive Wellness and Recovery Agreement under Community Services to provide provisions of services and funding under state aid compensation. Amounts effective June 1, 26. Do I have a second? Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion approved. Second motion, move to amend the compensation plan with reference to Community Services Department authorizing creation of a second mental health service coordinator effective immediately with provisions to continuation of state aid funding and revenue sources to support the costs of that position. Second? Heard? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion adopted. These motions are adopted, and I request the adoptions of the motions be incorporated into a resolution for the March 3rd board meeting. Do we have any other business? I'll take a motion to adjourn. Mike, Barry? All in favor? We are adjourned.
The Lewis County Finance and Rules Committee meeting is called to order. The clerk of the board will proceed with roll call.
Legislator Mosier has been excused. Legislator Nellenbach,
Here?
Legislator Frost,
Here.
Legislator Osborne,
Here.
Legislator Leindecker,
Here.
and Legislator Dahlhoff.
Move to approve the committee minutes from January 20th, 2026. Do I have a second? Herb? It has been moved and seconded that the committee minutes from January 20th, 2026 be approved. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed, say no. The motion has been adopted. First presentation on today's agenda is the Disaster Recovery Capital Project with Connor Blasey.
at that. He's all ready. So you may all remember back in September, October, we did an initial overview of what a land bank could be, because we knew that there had been interest of that in pursuing the land bank initiative. At that point, we left that meeting with some directive from all of you on how you would like a board to look, how you would see it going forward with staffing. So we hit the ground running and furthered our information gathering. Just to recap, though, the primary goal of this land bank would be to reclaim problem properties from limbo and to transform them into productive assets to benefit the community. It'll help us really take care of the blight in our neighborhoods and improve community development. And certainly it would impact and improve the taxes in a lot of our communities. Research and initiate the next steps to create the Lewis County Land Bank with a board member from each district. That was heard loud and clear from the last session, and to evaluate staffing options. So again, we've hit that ground running, doing some research with other land banks in the area and finding solutions and getting ready for the first step, which is to submit the application to ESD. And I know all of you remember that there's a cap on the number of land banks in New York State per the regulations, that ESD can approve up to 35 land banks, although I will say that the governor is proposing in her new budget to expand that to 45. So definitely something that a lot of us counties are looking into to take advantage of, to put into our toolbox. So again, that first step is to proceed with the ESD application. We have to do that before we can really move forward with any of the other steps, which I'm going to go through, and to set the funding for operations. So part of the requirements for the ESD application is to adopt a local law or resolution specifying the following: the name of the land bank. So we're proposing the Lewis County Land Bank Corporation, keeping it pretty simple. I will get into the nuts and bolts of the use of the name bank. Apparently that is a no word with lots of restrictions on it. So I will have to jump through a few hoops with Joan by my side to get the approval from New York State Department of Finances to utilize that word. But ultimately, the conversations that I've had with the established land banks is that it is worth the effort, and it really should be a land bank in the title. So we are pursuing that. Number two, number of board members or number of members of the board of directors. So that has to be stipulated in that resolution. And again, must be an odd number and shall not be less than 5 members nor more than 15. So based upon the input that you all had at that meeting back in the fall, we ran with the fact that we were going to have a representative nominated by each legislator from each district. And then we would have the county manager also serve as a board member. So we've checked all the boxes there. All right. I will say that we are just waiting to confirm 2 district land bank board members. We should get that by the end of the week. Establishing the land bank. The third aspect of the resolution is we need to identify those individual members. So we've identified the number of members, and like I had just alluded to, we had to get nominations from all of you, which we sent out the survey. You guys filled out the survey, and you were able to reach out to your constituents who you thought would best fit this role. And if the resolution that is in front of you today goes forward, that'll be the inaugural board of directors. The articles of incorporation. So we don't need to have a finalized bylaws and whatnot. Those will, of course, be adopted by the set board of directors, but we do need to get those articles of incorporations of land bank together. So Joan and I are going to work on that. And that'll need to be submitted by the county attorney. So we're getting all of those nuts and bolts together so we can submit to ESD. And once we collect all of this information, wrap it up in a nice big bow, I've talked to our contact at ESD that handles land banks, and he said that if we get it in March, then it could be likely approved at their May meeting. And what does this mean? I'll get to that when it comes to the timeline, because it's all about the timing for this. Funding of the land bank. The first presentation that I gave back in the fall, I identified some of the key funding components, because obviously we don't want this to cost the Lewis County taxpayers anything. So CDBG funding, the planning funds that we had proposed to apply for, our wonderful grant coordinator Grace was able to wrap that application up before the deadline in December. And our hope is that we would receive this funding or know of the decision by March. That's when the expected decision is set for. And in that application, we applied for $50,000 towards the completion of a vacant property or blighted property, if you will, inventory. This will give the land bank board the tools needed to already have these properties identified, and we had grant funding to pay for it. So it's going to better utilize our resources when that first year or two of the land bank, we're, getting our gears greased there. The second source of funding was the New York State HCR Land Bank Initiative, which I have TBD because I have to do that. Like I had alluded to, the governor has expanded proposing to expand the amount of land banks from 35 allowed land banks to 45. Currently, there's no funding, ironically, for the program, even with that expansion. But after talking to a lot of established land banks, they are very confident that the funding will be put back into the budget, which would result the LBI, the Land Bank Initiative Phase 1, which is likely what we would be applying for, would the 2-year funding for operations would be $200,000, which is perfect for having an administrative agreement with the county to formalize staffing and the use of office space and all that fun stuff. So while I can't say that it's actually locked in, they do expect it, and the timeline for that is June, which is why it's all about timing with this the resolution that we have forward in front of you for adoption, because again, we need that resolution establishing the land bank and those board members. And then once we have all of that information, we submit the application to ESD in March, and we move forward with receiving the decision, hopefully on the CDBG application, to complete the inventory. From there, I had penciled in there that obviously we would be advocating for the continued LBI funding in the New York State budget, but it sounds like a lot of that groundwork has already been laid. And then, of course, we would apply for the use of the word bank, that big naughty word that the Department of Finances requires us to get their okay to use, which understood. April, we develop the land bank board meeting schedule and continued communication on the next steps. Abundantly important that we keep those board members that you all have reached out to about this in constant communication of where we're at, when we expect to move forward, but we really can't do anything until ESD approves the application, which we would expect in May if we have all of our T's crossed and I's dotted in our March application. And then from there, we would hit the ground running on the development of a land bank funding application, which we expect the round to open in June if it's consistent with last year and the years prior at the end of June. So again, it's all about timing. So we're trying to make sure that we have all of the puzzle pieces ready to put together to take advantage of every penny that the state has towards this. And really that critical component is the CDBG funding that will be really able to hit the ground running if we have a full inventory of what properties we need to focus on first, where, why, and when, how much that's going to cost. It'll give us really great groundwork for phase 2 or even the capital portions of the land bank initiative funding. I mean, I hate to brag, but I think I was the shortest presentation today. I kept it to the 10 minutes I was allotted. Are there any questions?
Would there be any sitting legislators on the board?
The directive that I had from the last meeting was that all of the legislators would choose somebody or nominate somebody from their district. So at this point, the plan is not to have a legislator on the board. It is to have the county manager will play that role. And it is strictly the county manager, but Tim, since he is the county manager, will sit on there. But all right, you're welcome.
Draft resolution number 1, amending the Lewis County employee meal policy to require employees to use personal funds for meals with reimbursement, adopt GSA rates for first and last day of travel, and allow all reasonable business meal expenses for legislative and county manager functions with itemized receipts.
I move that the draft resolution number 1 be forwarded to the full board for action. Do I have a second? Herb? It has been moved and seconded that the draft resolution number 1 be forwarded to the full board for action. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? No. The motion has been adopted.
Draft resolution number 2, authorizing a new agreement with Tyler Technologies to migrate Lewis County to the hosted EERP platform for a one-time fee of $5,000 and annual software licensing and maintenance costs of $72,322 in the first year, funded through the 2026 IT budget and contingency funds.
I move that draft resolution number 2 be forwarded to the full board for action. Do we have a second? It has been moved and seconded that draft resolution number 2 be forwarded to the full board for action. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed, say no. The motion is adopted.
Draft resolution number 3, opposing PSC approved National Grid rate hikes, urging state leaders to cap annual utility increases at 2% to protect residents and businesses, and calling for broader municipal and public support.
I move that draft resolution number 3 be forwarded to the full board for action. Do I have a second? Herb?
Jeff, if I can, that main resolution has been amended so that it's not National Grid. It is calling on New York State to look at their energy policies related to that. I just want to call that out.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed, say no. The motion has been adopted.
Draft resolution number 4, expressing opposition to the RAPID Act and related regulations that limit local authority over renewable energy projects, citing undermine home rule and pose risks to environmental review, property rights, and community input, while urging the state to pursue collaborative approaches with local governments.
I move that draft resolution number 4 be forwarded to the full board for action. Do I have a second? It's been moved and seconded that draft resolution number 4 be forwarded to the full board for action. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No. The motion has been adopted.
Draft resolution number 5, awarding the bid and authorizing a contract with Bronze Contracting LLC for the demolition and removal of a condemned building at 5508 State Route 26, Town of Turin, under the CDBG Imminent Threat Grant Program at a cost not to exceed $32,200.
I move that draft resolution number 5 be forwarded to the full board for action. Do I have a second? Gary? It has been moved and seconded that draft resolution number 5 be forwarded to the full board for action. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed, say no. The motion is adopted.
Draft resolution number 6, approving inclusion of 3 parcels totaling approximately 113 acres in the towns of Martinsburg, Watson, and Lewis into agricultural district number 6, adopting a negative environmental impact declaration and authorizing execution of related documents.
I move that draft resolution number 6 be forwarded to the full board for action. Do I have a second? It has been moved and seconded that draft resolution number 6 be forwarded to the full board for action. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed, say no. The motion is adopted.
Draft resolution number 7, determining that the Constableville Roadway and Complete Streets Improvement Project, funded by a $500,000 New York State ESD County Infrastructure Grant, is a Type 2 action under SECRA with no significant environmental impact, requiring no further review.
I move that draft resolution number 7 be forwarded to the full board for action. Do I have a second? Herb? It has been moved and seconded that draft resolution number 7 be forwarded to the full board for action. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed, say no. The motion is adopted.
Draft resolution number 8, authorizing a public hearing on April 7th, 2026 at the Lewis County Courthouse to solicit public comments on the accomplishments of the CDBG Lewis County Microenterprise Program following the program's administration requirements.
I move that draft resolution number 8 be forwarded to the full board for action. Do I have a second? Barry, thank you. It has been moved and seconded that draft resolution number 8 be forwarded to the full board for action. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed, say no. The motion is adopted.
Draft resolution number 9, accepting franchise tax adjustments and payments from cable providers to towns under existing franchise agreements and authorize the county treasurer to apportion and charge back $13,394.18 as prescribed by law.
I move that draft resolution number 9 be forwarded to the full board for action. Do I have a second? Tom? It has been moved and seconded that draft resolution number 9 be forwarded to the full board for action. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed, say no. The motion is adopted.
Draft resolution number 10 is authorize the formation of the Lewis County Land Bank Corporation as a not-for-profit entity to address vacant and tax delinquent properties, revitalize communities, and promote affordable housing and economic development with an 11-member board appointed by the legislature.
I move that draft resolution number 10 be forwarded to the full board for action. Do I have a second? Herb? It has been moved and seconded that draft resolution number 10 be forwarded to the full board for action. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye. Anybody opposed, say no. The motion has been adopted. Let's see. Okay, we're down to there. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Moving on to unfinished business. Before us, we have a motion to approve and adopt the 2026 Finance and Rules Committee goals that's outlined in our packet.
Second that.
You second that? Any discussion?
I see it says Commerce Park, 40 acres. Do we have a spot picked out, or is that just what we're looking for, around 40 acres?
We do not have a spot picked out. That's something we're working with Naturally Lewis to kind of create criteria for. And then once we've created actually some overlays of different parcels that would meet that criteria and go from there. So it's a committee through Naturally Lewis that's doing that.
And I think the state requires a minimum of 40 acres in order to fund it.
Do you have a second for this motion? For the unfinished business to approve and adopt the 2026 Finance and Rules Committee goals. We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No? Okay, that's carried. Okay. Let's see, we do have, do I have to close the meeting? Okay. I move that we go into executive session.
Second now.
All in favor, say aye.
I'm just going to add that that's the reason for the executive session is, and it's really an attorney-client privilege session as well to address the potential renegotiation of a contract.
I ask that all the legislators stay, along with the county attorney.
Deputy County Manager, County Clerk can stay. Or
And
Clerk of the board.
Rob Loud, we
Rob
would ask
Loud.
Rob Loud to be here.